Hello everyone, and welcome back to my main LEGO room in the site of New JANG City, where there's a lot of mess around the edges, but I'm actually going to ignore all of that because I'm just anxious to show you a new addition to one of my favorite sections of this whole layout in this whole room. I'm actually going to just turn off the above lights because we're going to be focusing on the space down below, and specifically my underwater layout, which has picked up some lights and sounds, and moving lights at that, an actual animated background. That is finally the use of my very first ever flat screen TV. That is an over 10-year-old TV that hasn't been used a lot in recent years, and I've just placed it back there as a backdrop and set up a temporary loop that's just a few public domain loops just put together, kind of edited together. But it's also set up with sound. Now, my microphone is set up right now. The one that I'm using is set up to just have you hear the sound of my voice. So I'll cheat a little bit and edit in some of the sound that I'm hearing coming from the TV. So it's just placed back there, the TV is, and you just probably saw a loop there. I've only put in a temporary file for now. This is just my first try of actually getting the whole thing working, so it's only looping every 2 minutes, but once I get it just right, I will fix that and make it much longer. But this is just basically combining the new and old LEGO underwater related, ocean exploration sets that I have in this half of my ocean or ocean bottom display, with the Silent Mary, and that's just been placed on the ground and kind of given more of a home. And then above, if you can see up there, I've got some LED light strips as well, and those are color changing ones, the Philips Hue ones on the undersides of my IKEA Linmon tables that support New JANG City up above. And I'm starting to put some blockers in so you don't see as much of the reflections of those onto the TV screen. And then it's just a TV screen back there, and it's hooked up to an Android tablet, an old Android tablet at that, another thing that's kind of fallen into mostly disuse recently because it's an older one. It's not even able to update very much anymore, but it's able to play a video file. I just downloaded a free, ad-free, open source based, I believe, video player. I forget the name of it offhand, but it's just playing a file directly from its own internal memory, and it's got it on loop, and that's all that it takes. And I mean, the sound is actually pretty good. It's not too tinny. It is a fairly large TV. You may notice that the TV is actually angled back just a little bit. It's not completely straight up and down, and that's because it was just too large, you just saw it loop again, just too tall to fit under this table. So I had to lean it back just to get that angle there. And speaking of angles, I actually angled this table towards us a little bit. I took the little miniature feet off the cut legs, just regular IKEA legs that I used down here. Took the little feet off from the front and then elevated the adjustable ones in the back so that it's much easier to see the seabed here. And it's a nice little effect. Oh, another thing that I also added in since you last saw this was just a couple of small schools of fish. Those are just hot glued onto some fine mesh material. And the one in the back I think looks maybe a little bit better, but it's kind of subtle. And during the day and when I have just the regular lights on as well, I've kind of focused on just the lights in this area. Let me go ahead and use my other hand to turn the other ones back on, but it's even less obvious that it's being held up. The mesh material that I'm using around there is holding up the fish, and it just makes for a nice little effect. So it's kind of like I have a little bit of extra life in here, and I'm looking forward to doing that to my other layout. Oh, don't look there. Oh, it's such a mess. But my other underwater layout over here will need another TV. I'll just have to find a really cheap one, but it kind of makes all this over here look fairly plain now and lifeless. Just compared. I still really like the look of this stuff, and I look forward to adding even more terrain and more details, and I can bring some of the fish schools over here as well. I've got lots of the regular silver colored Lego fish to add to that, but yeah, this is nice. It just gives really nice ambiance in the room, and with the sound and everything, when you walk into the place, it kind of greets you, especially since it's right here, kind of at the entrance, the introduction to the whole place. So yeah, that's a very nice scene. I look forward to using that technique some more in the future. I didn't invent this technique by any means. I mean, just, video displays behind things have been used for decades, but I've been trying to think of what to do to add a little bit more life to this whole room, and particularly down with these areas that I like especially. I was thinking about bringing in an actual aquarium, putting it behind it, putting it in front of it, putting the whole layout underwater. I've just messed around with various ideas, but I think this is the most sustainable thing, and also the most configurable, because I can always change out that video that shows on the background. And behind there, just for a last little thing, more mess. Behind there, see if I can get the camera around here. It's a little bit tough to get in. There we go. It's all covered up. So that's not going to be an issue. I mean, obviously there's a lot of wiring and stuff going on back there, but that's going to be covered as well. There will be an additional layer of cover that will come up here and create a storage space, a little buffer zone behind all these tables. And also, since you last saw, I'm not going to focus on it in this video, but since you last saw, I've added the LED strips under here and under most of the table. Not completely done with all that yet, but most of the installation is done and all that is isolated, so I can create the slightly greenish color just here, whereas the area out there is the standard kind of daylight white color and everything, and it'll all just work together. So that's that. Wanted to show that, even though there's nothing really done here. It's just a test and needs to be tuned, needs to be worked on for sure. Further, I did want to share it as quickly as possible because I think it's a really nice thing. I really enjoy it and hope that some of you will enjoy it too. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.